the executive committee members, Mr. Jawhar, Mr. C. Francis, Mr. Stephen, and the host of dignitaries connected to the council. And also our bishop very aptly started with a wonderful prayer, Shanti, good prayer. It's indeed my great privilege to present to all of us Summum Bonum of NAP 2020, a path to recovery. It's a vital topic for all of us. I'm not going to get into all the details of NAP 2020. Just only I'm going to concentrate on two articles. Article number 5.14, article number 13.4, which are directly relevant for all of us, which really helps us to be better teachers, better administrators. The word summum bonum was coined by Roman philosopher Cicero. It's actually Latin express, meaning ultimate good, meaning highest good. And the Plato said it's a form of good. Aristotle mentions it is the highest good anybody can do it with a human nature. Humans supposed to do, and they're supposed to have the target as to do good. That good supposed to be supreme good. Immanuel Kant is saying it's a duty of every human being to do good. Thomas Aquinas mentions those who are maintaining constant communion with God can do good, no one else. Sister White amply mentioned it's a redemptive plan. It's God's character, God's nature. Unless you have that vision, the mind to do good, you cannot do it. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the highest good that we can take from this new education policy, which has come up very well? What is the new education policy all about? There are so many aspects to be discussed. Few things I'm going to highlight for all of us. Number one, here. It's known as a visionary philosophy, visionary document, vision document rather. Very many Indians are very fascinated because of his ideas, his vision, his mission, and particularly intentions. And it has a lot of objectives to fulfill. And it's built on 5 important pillars: access and equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. These 5 unique pillars are very important for educationists in order to make a social change, as our beloved Bishop mentioned, to bring in social change. These pillars are very essential for all of us. What are the aims? To bring transformational reforms in India, at least by 2030. To turn India into global knowledge power. India right now in the very low status. It's your responsibility, my responsibility to support government in order to make knowledge power this country. It has a lot of objectives. To improve the quality of Indian education, to meet the standards of IB, IGCSE, and CISC, our board, is also very high. To improve the scores that our students required to obtain in PISA, TIMSS, PEARLS, IGRA. I'm going to explain to you what are those a little later. Some of the highlights of these policy, salient features of this policy, is going to contemplate on foundational literacy and numeracy. Rather 3 hours. Now, though we moved into 7 hours, but our country is still lacking the 3 hours. The 3 hours has to be fulfilled. Here. Therefore, for that, The children will be given the choice of the subjects. All this while in our country, we have the fixed streams, science, commerce, arts. With this new policy, there is no fixed streams as such. One can choose whichever subject he wants or she wants and maintain any combination. It's going to be liberal education. There won't be read and write and kinesthetic. These are the some of those methods can be employed to educate our children. And creativity and critical thinking is being also mentioned over here that our education lacks all this while. So we need to enlighten our children in problem solving, in thinking, and finding solutions for their own problems. It's going to be holistic education. Holistic education is very important. Even Honorable our Chief Justice of India mentions right now our Indian education only concentrating on the utility part of it, but it needs to also concentrate on the moral aspects of it. We also, as per the awarding the certificates are concerned, it should be based on three important decisions: self-assessment, peer assessment, and the teacher assessment. It's going to be 360 holistic report card. It's going to be unique of its nature. And also it gives a privilege after assessing the children to recognize a unique talents of each child and encourage the child to move forward in the right direction. Also, in this policy, 10 days are specifically assigned as known as the bagless days to go around, identify Indian crafts, Indian arts, maybe pottery, carpentry, weaving, whatever. Very many of our children may not know how these things are being made. One has to know. Even some of the children, those who are living in the cities, may not know how the food is being supplied to them. Who are those people behind? So therefore, it's essential for them to learn these important Indian arts and crafts. And also, children are given genius hour. That means around 20% of our time should be permitted for children to do on their own. All this while, every child is only depending on the teacher. Whatever the teacher says, whatever curriculum says, we follow. But a child has no freedom to choose his or own interests. If their interest is something else besides what is being taught, should be permitted and should be allowed to do as a genius hour. That's known as a passion pursuit. And also children need to be permitted to go for to learn in their own mother tongue. India is rich in languages and culture. Very many languages are getting distinguished. In this new education policy, rightly permitting people to even not to forget their own various languages. This policy identifies the following the same manner the way Europe is following languages. Special emphasis to all this while, we have teacher training program. In the new education policy, there is no teacher training program, but upskilling through NISTA program on the Diksha platform. This is going to be implemented. And also National Assessment Center. When you're going to have very many boards, very many schools in India, we need to study which school is doing very well, which board is doing very well. There need to be someone to assess, find out, and rate them. It's very essential to measure this. If there's no way to measure, there's no way to award certificates. So PARC is being created where all the schools will be assessed thoroughly. We also have big school complex. If we are in a particular city like Udaipur, all the schools in Udaipur and a particular area are asked to come together on a single platform, identify if there's any school which is suffering from any deficiency, any problem, of any kind, all of them should come together, share, care, and exchange views and also go together. It's known as a big school complex. That is also a provision is made in this policy. We also have the technology-based education. We are given certain platforms like Diksha, Swayam Prabha. These platforms are being provided in order to catch up to the rest of the world and contribute good of our country. As I mentioned, we need to have the holistic education, teaching moral values, social values, ethical values. These are missing. Without these social moral values, people are only chasing towards IIT, JEE, etc. But we need to know how to follow these and learn these social values. As Dr. Gayatri rightly mentioning, this was great impact that COVID has brought to all of us. There are a number of things that I showed over here. Out of all those, I'm going to concentrate only on school education. As already our country suffering was rated very low in many ways because of our poor education qualities. As our governments, various successive governments trying their level best improve in those areas. The COVID has come as an act of God abruptly, causing a lot of problem for all of us. Now, these problems in terms of health, in terms of education, enrollment, in terms of longevity. These areas, we face tremendous problem. Therefore, we need to rectify even those areas. This COVID brought, as far as education is concerned, the following damages for us. Globally, about 1,000 million children lost 21 months of academic year. In Asia alone, 800 million. India alone, 320 million children lost this opportunity. About 27 million children did not have any opportunity in Southern Asia division over here to have a good schooling here. World Bank, UNESCO, UNICEF spent a lot of time on this one. World Bank 218 brought a good program, good research project on education. They identified a lot of deficiencies, especially in education. Now, before going to that, this COVID alone brought a lot of problems for entire world. Globally, about 17 million US dollars are going to be lost for this generation. That is about 17 lakhs crore rupees loss, if you want express in Indian terms. About 400 billion dollars India alone is going to reach. That's about 40,000 lakhs India is going to lose. Who founded this? World Bank. And here, Jamim Savindra, World Bank Global Education Director, he identifies this through his team. There also, this World Bank brings up, of course, United Nations brings World Development Report. World Bank brings Human Capital Index also brings to learn about various countries, their performance in terms of economy. This is based on three important parameters: education and skills, health, and the longevity. These are the three important parameters used to give the score for Human Capital Index. India was rated 115 out of 157 countries in 218. Of course, the report came out only 219, which is lower than even Sri Lanka, which is lower than Nepal, Myanmar, even Bangladesh. India, rich in natural resource, rich in everything, but as far as HI is concerned, 115 in the previous report. The present report, we were given 116 out of 174 countries. Of course, the report came 2020. As far as scores are concerned, the previous report 0.44, the present report that revealed was 0.49. 0.05, there was increase in that. In a way, good. However, as far as longevity is concerned, the probability of survival age 5 child is only 96%. Every 100, only 96 children may survive. And also, expected years of a school in India is only 10.2. If a child begins his or her school 4 years, but that child completes 18 years, the number of years the child spends only 10.2, not 15 years. How it came, I'm going to explain to you in a while. It goes like this. When the World Bank found out there are a number of countries around the world, they are not at all doing good in the international standards test, like PISA, in the TIMS, in the Pearl and IGRET test. Of course, PISA is given for a 15 years child, and TIMS only 8th grade child is being administered. Pearl's 4th grade child was administered. As far as IGRET is concerned, the class 2 or class 3 being measured in various categories. When they found out around the world, all the member schools in this World Bank, very many schools who gives their number of instructor hours as very long, very high, but their performance in these tests were very low. What went wrong? They're spending very many hours in learning, but when it comes to the international standard test scores, the scores are very poor. So they thought, all the social scientists thought there must be something wrong. They compared the qualities, the quality adjusted longevity, longevity of life. How the last 25 years they spent trying to find out how the quality of life and the longevity of life combine together to rate qualities. Similar manner, in the same wavelength, they try to find out LAYS, learning adjusted school years, learning adjusted years, how they happen to be this one. When they found out, they need to link this one with some standard score. India is concerned, we have this Pratham Education Foundation also conducts every year through ASISC, annual status education report. They also come up finding out all the deficiencies in the school. The government of India also, education department, comes up with a report, national assessment survey. These also gives the reports. If the reports are good, they publish. If reports are not good, the government keeps them as they are. However, at glance, they're required to submit these reports to the World Bank, because World Bank is the one provides a lot of money, asking all the multinational corporations to donate, gather money, give to the rest of the world. Whichever country is not doing very well, they give. In their sight, India is doing poorly. So for India, they're giving a lot of money for upgrading its education qualities. Now, when they see Indian people also, the child of 15 years, the probability of the child to live up to 60 years, only 83%. Even longevity is also the question here. Since our country is not taking part in the very many international tests, this time, Lee app also they did not take. The PISA was the last, was taken only 2009. Thereafter, they did not take. They're avoiding everything because number of reasons. The last was only 2009. That also, particularly, they selected students from Tamil Nadu, students from Madhya Pradesh only as a representative of India. In that also, we did not do any good. Therefore, somehow World Bank to measure our India with international score, they don't have anything as such, other than the national large scale survey and national assessment survey and maybe ASRE survey. With those, they also adjusted, moderated, and brought in terms of team score. Team score generally 625. For Indians, they rated 355. Minimum score generally for everybody they give about 300. For India, they gave 355 only they gave. And that was the bad. Beside this one, there are also some learning poverty. Before even this pandemic, we had also learning poverty in India. How do they measure learning poverty? Those are deprived of the school. You can see those who are carrying those on their head. And those children who are not able to pass their exam, the parents, the friends are climbing to supply the answers. Learning poverty and the school deprived together, some of this together known as a learning poverty. As for the India's concern, they rated India around 55%, which means 45% still need to be fulfilled. We are that poor as per the learning poverty is concerned. We have the learning adjusted years of schooling is concerned. We have only 5.8 in our regions, South Asia region. The score this because of pandemic we lost 0.5. Earlier it was 6.5. It has come down to only 6 point, which is very low. What is this adjustment? Learning adjustment years of school. How do they rate? As I mentioned to you earlier, when they see the quality and quantity of learning, quantity of hours they spend, and the quality of learning join together, they arrive at calculations mathematically. They calculate and give us as a 5.8 only. Whereas our neighbors, Singapore, they have 10 out of 10, full marks. Even South Korea, Hong Kong, they are doing very well. India, doing very poorly. The Indian children, the same children, when they go to Europe and America, elsewhere, they're doing extremely well. Why, when they're in India, they're not doing any good? Why only 5.8? This lay score very poor. We need to somehow solve this. The government of India took a lot of initiatives in order to rectify, to get a good name for country. Of course, for that, there are a number of initiatives. Since my friend gave me a time limit, I'm not going to spend much quickly here. Ayushman Bharat Yojana was given. This for only health insurance for all the people poor and needy, so that longevity can be improved. And the Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana was given. This only for special movement to make India. This is also given. We also have here TULIP. All those people who learn in various schools, they don't get in a kinesthetic way of learning. That is doing by learning is happens, but learning by doing, they don't do at all. So therefore, in order to allow them to learn by doing, they're giving internships in the cities. At least every year, about 25,000 children are selected and given opportunity to have these internships, so that they'll become more qualified to contribute for the country. Now we have Samagra Shiksha. Samagra Shiksha is a new scheme that has come up. It is previously we used to have Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. We have Rashtra Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan, teacher education. All these things merged together, brought as a Samagra Shiksha. Right from preschool to class, senior secondary is caring for their needs. Government of India is spending a lot of money for 1.16 million schools, 156 million children, 1.7 million children. They're sponsoring, educating, taking care of all of them. Huge amount of money is going for that. Of course, government of India intend to spend about 6%. Right now, about almost 4% only they're able to spend for this. So government has a lot of plan. Beside those important schemes government came up to rectify our deficiencies, the new education policy is the number one, which can help us to rectify all our deficiencies. What are those? Article number 5.14, article here. Article number 5.14 gives a lot of freedom for people to choose aspects of pedagogy. Pedagogy is very important. What are the pedagogies that we are following? Almost how many? About 1500 years ago, we had this education pedagogy. That still we are hanging on to that. We are not coming out of it. And the teachers will be given certificate, teachers will be given awards for their contribution. Here, article number 13.4, this educators will be given freedom to choose their pedagogies. They're also given freedom to make various approaches in order to do very good over here. Now, as for the learning pedagogies are concerned, more pedagogies came in the last 10 years than the last 1,000 years back. What are those pedagogies? I just want to bring it to all of you to notice, kindly note down. What is a pedagogy? Pedagogy is actually uh, is kind of a child training program. If you really want example, Howard Gardner came up with a multiple intelligence. This is a true example of a pedagogy here. That's what we are following. It is only teacher directed. It's one diagonal, one dimensional. It's like it says on the stage. Teacher sits and gives only instructions, and the child has to note down, follow the teacher. It's not two ways. It's only one way. Generally, we use a teaching method, tutorials, practical exercise, assignments, coaching, quiz, and discussions only happens to this one. Pedagogy is the one if we are following. We use for any age, every person, any kind of person. Only pedagogies are being used. No other pedagogies are being used here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce this morning for all of us another gogis which are really important for us. Andragogy. Andragogy has come up because of Malcolm novels. He is an educationist. This gentleman, when he was appointed as a secretary director for YMCA in America, he was given a target to educate those people who are illiterate. And he worked very hard as a committed educationist. He spent a lot of time trying to find various ways to reach out and reach. He spent his time and he found out this new method as a self-directed, self-determined adult learning. Teacher stands as a guide by side, helping them. And these novels also as decentralized learning in a very, very systematic manner, taking away from the guru stage and made all of them to learn together. Teacher learns, students learns, everybody learns here. And he has introduced new methods, like a case teaching, role play, field visit, studios, games, all that he has introduced over here. Because of this gentleman contribution, today we have the andragogy. Very many people misunderstand andragogy meant for only adults. Since we are not able to distinguish who's adult, who's not adult. As for this method, they say only up to 10th standard pedagogy would be used. Thereafter, andragogy should be used. Andragogy, right from 11th standard up to degree college, we can use andragogy. It's not so. Andragogy principles could be used right from preschool to even the degree level. Here, ladies and gentlemen, pedagogy is a number one that all of us must learn about it. All the progressive countries, all the progressive schools in the world, they follow pedagogy. What is pedagogy? It is all self-directed, non-linear. When I say non-linear, means it is a child is given freedom to choose his or own way of learning. They can learn on their own. They need to be given curiosity. They need to be motivated. They need to be inspired. How do you inspire them? We need to ask the various questions, help them to do that. In fact, in all the coaching centers, they identify the children and give them this pedagogy. Pedagogy is only self-directed learning. It is only self-determined learning. There are few children concentrate, they spend, and they do all kind of physical exercise, yoga, and all that. Sit with the books, learn on their own. They don't require any guru. They don't require any teacher. They learn by themselves. They do it very well. I remember when we were doing master program in Pune, All our friends, everybody used to be, selfish. Everybody wants to score very high marks. What our department had suggested was share your ideas. Take books. You read this chapter, you read this chapter, sit together in botanical garden. We used to share and discuss. And each of us, we used to read and prepare and come as though we're experts teaching ourselves. And then later on, we're passing ideas to others as a pedagogy that we're going to learn a little later. So this is a very important, pedagogy is very important for all of us. If council school to excel, we all need to follow pedagogy, very important one, because this one only helps everybody to sit and learn, be away from the indiscipline problems, be away from all other problems, because they have goal, they have vision, they have mission to excel. Therefore, let's spend time on this one. We have here flipped classrooms. Flipped classroom is in a sense, the students will learn at home, come to school to do the homework. And the case mentoring, mini projects, short films, guided learning. Teacher is only guide besides, allowing them to function. We have the next pedagogy, the pedagogy. Pedagogy is a very important one. It's a peer-to-peer learning. As I was teaching the class, I never followed any other method than the pedagogy. Pedagogy is very good method. Identify the children, pair them up, let them sit together, learn from each other. The pedagogy is a peer-to-peer learning. There are a number of universities also come up as a peer-to-peer universities. We need to arrange the children, let them get friendly, let them help each other, because they understand they're in the same wavelength, they're in the same capacity. One child can reach other child more effectively than the grown-ups. Some of us may be of silent generation group. Some of us may be different age group. For us to come down to their level is not possible. The child to reach another child, they understand, they can explain better. So pedagogy is another method which need to be practiced, asking the children learn among themselves, grouping them together, allowing them to form groups and learn from each other. This method really helps. Before Mr. Vincent asked me to sit, let me write. I'll pass on this one to Mr. Vincent. You can copy down later on. Here, there are a few important principles that we need to learn. Number one here, changing context as a decentered center. Rather than gurus, the teachers keeping all the information with us, we need to allow them to decentralize into small groups. The children can learn from other children so effectively. Meta learning as a fount of knowledge. The peer provide feedback. Even the children, those who are in a small group, they come and tell us, so-and-so has this difficulty. Now we're trying to find out problems of children learning problems, dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, various learning disabilities. As a teacher, very many times you and me may not able to identify. When the children sitting together, they give us a feedback. They come and tell us which of their colleagues, which of their co-students having the problems. They'll pass an information to us, by which we can bring an able leader, education specialist in that area to help out those children who are suffering from any learning disabilities. And also this, since we are gathering children side by side, it's help them to dream. Every child think of becoming another child, whoever is doing very well. So they begin to dream. When they dream, they will get into the deliberate practice. Deliberate practice, the practice that is essential for everyone to excel. So this method helps them to have deliberate practice. So therefore, try introduce even pedagogy as a method of teaching in our institutions. Here, synergy. Synergogy comes from synergy. Synergogy is another team learning. Whenever you want anybody to learn, we have the debates, discussions, games. When you divide our groups into various groups for debate, discussion, and the playing various games, the children able to contribute as group. One group learn from other one, pass on to others. So synergogy is another gogy which really helps for all of us to organize, divide them into various houses, various small groups, and they learn from each other as a group. Competitions can be conducted. When you conduct competition between one child to versus another child, they may be face some problems. If you divide into groups, one group facing with the other group, as a group, no child feels miserable. Therefore, this system of synagogue really helps us to have a good way of reaching out to people who can learn in a groups. You need to identify, do that. And now last one is not last one, second last one. Cybergogy. Cybergogy is a wonderful one. Sugata Mitra, he has contributed so much for this cybergogy. The hole in the wall. He and his team came to Delhi and went to Tamil Nadu, various parts of India, and just fixed up all the computers in the wall, all the devices, whatever the device required, and they gave internet connections, allowed the slum dwellers to use it freely, without instructions, without instructor, without any guidance. These children, helping each other, following pedagogy, following synagogue, on their own, they helped each other, guided each other. They learned so well. In a few months, they're able to surf well. They're able to use hi-fi vocabulary. They're able to explain very complicated theories very simple manner. When they did it in Tamil Nadu, with a Tamil, even the Tamil language also, they don't know how to read and write. Innocent, ignorant children were illiterate. They started using this cybergogy method. They're able to speak the language that might be spoken by the specialists in the zoology, specialists in the botany, specialists in the various science subjects. How did they learn? Without learning, with the help of cybergogy. Cybergogy really helps very well. It's adaptive learning. It's virtual learning. Now, thank God, because of this corona, all our children become experts. Very many of our children are not aware. Our children were depending on the students. The students, by pressing any kind of button, anyhow, abusing, using whichever manner possible, they learned very well to use synagogue. Synagogue is a way to connect the rest of the world. They're able to utilize all the resources through synagogue, able to reach, learn anything, everything, because they have the learning instruments in their hand. Mobiles, iPads, computers, all that. They become really an experts. Number of NGOs going around collecting these mobiles, iPads, supplying to the poor and needy, because of which they're able to excel very well. Synagogue will, the cybergogy really helped the children to connect to the rest of the world to become an experts. The last one, which I'm going to spend time here with us, is Jaragogi. All of us are Jaragogis. Who are those Jaragogis? Yeah. Jaragogi is educating the elders. Singapore is the leading country to, integrate all walks of life. Normally, as human beings, we have 4 stages for life. First stage, second stage, third stage, and the fourth stage. Those after retirement, those who stay free without any work, they also need to survive. They also need to move about. They also need to enjoy life. But they do not know how to use the electronic devices. They do not know how to book the tickets. They do not know how to order food. They do not know how to book the name for the vaccination. They do not know how to do all that. They also need to contribute for the economy, because this Jaragogi population is very high. The third age group is very high in the country. Third age group, according to these LPS India, about 173 million people are going to be there by 2026. Right now, they say we have about 104 million people, 104 million, huge number. When this much population are going to be ignorant, they do not know how to use technology. Generation Alpha, Gen G, Gen Y, all other generations, other experts to use devices, electronic devices very freely, and they're enjoying life, learning anything, everything. They're able to do good. When such a huge population in the country, if they do not know how to use the devices, they will not able to contribute for the economy of the nation. They're healthy. They're healthy because longevity is increased. What is the present longevity? They say about 70 years now. 70 years longevity. Now, when is the retirement? Retirement differs from place to place, country to country, state to state. Let's say about 60 years. By 60 years, they're required to retire. They're going to live how many years? There are people now, they're living even up to 100 years. I remember somebody mentioned to me from UP, the person since last 36 years who was voting, it seems, is 106 years old. The number of people they're living in Japan, there are about 500 people live one particular island who are more than 100 years. All of them. Average lifespan is very high. Longevity is increased because of physical reasons, health reasons, economic reasons, number of reasons. This huge population which is going to be ignorant. What to learn, when to learn, how to learn, where to learn. If these people also are given devices, they also will learn. Jarugagi is also very important. We need to improve. We need to conduct training programs for our teachers, senior citizens. None of our people want to retire. I'm working since 40, this is 44th year for me as a 33 years as a principal. Before that, I was math teacher. Now, I still feel young, but whereas the technology is concerned, I'm much behind my grandson. My grandson tells me, he laughs at me sometimes the way I'm operating the computer. See, you don't know this, you don't know this. You're showing up in mathematics, but you don't know this. There are a number of people facing problem with this technology. So pedagogy is important to educate our people. In fact, all our teachers, the Maharashtra government, when it conducted a survey, they found out a number of teachers do not know how to use electronic devices. They do not know how to use the computers. They do not know how to reach out to the people through virtual medium. They found very tough. They were educated thoroughly in this time. So there are a number of people also may not know how to use this. I'm sure a number of our people may not know how to use their friends. Pedagogy is also another method, pedagogy, which need to be adapted, used thoroughly for our people so that the digital age can be properly used. We can have the digital institutions. Knowing is, Mr. Vincent, is enough, or should I continue? I have something more. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Wishing is not enough. We must do. Ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to learn andragogy, pedagogy, pedagogy, synagogy, and this cybergogy and jaragogy. Use this new method. Don't hang on to pedagogy anymore because new education policy is giving us freedom, empowering our teachers, empowering principals to come up to reach the unreached, make India great. Thank you so much.